This is the meeting of the Community Preservation Committee, which happens, what do you call it? So I'm going to call, now that we've got a quorum, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And it's right at 7 o'clock. I know we've got a few members that probably will still chime in, but we do have a quorum. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes. We've got minutes from May 6th. I didn't see any type of corrections. Does anybody else see anything on the minutes?
No.
Can I entertain a motion to go ahead and have those minutes approved then?
Make a motion, we approve. Minutes from the 6th, is that correct?
Correct, the 6th. Can I get someone to second it?
I'll second.
Okay. And let's do a roll call. All in favor? Barry?
Aye.
All right, Jess?
Aye.
Okay, and we've got Jason?
I don't think I was at that meeting, so
Oh, okay.
I abstain.
I abstain. All right, and the chair says aye. So that's been approved. Excellent. All right, and then for our information session that we had on the 20th, Jess was able to go ahead and take the minutes of that. I thought that was very well done. You even included the letter, Jess. That was nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so with that, can I hear a motion to approve the minutes on the 20th for the information session? Or the second information session, I should say.
Motion to approve.
Oh, Beth, welcome. All right.
I'll second that.
All right. Let's do a roll call. Jason?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen? Got to get you off the speaker, though. We're just approving the minutes of the 20th. We just approved the minutes of the 6th. Do you have any corrections or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. All right. And chair says aye, so that's been approved. Excellent. All right. Again, we're happy that we've got some public participation. Anytime you have a question, please, Sarah, and I don't know who Diagnostic IP is, but if you do have any questions, definitely I'll stop and you can go ahead and be able to ask. Now for the correspondence and bills, I have not been able to get into the town hall. So I would imagine that there are some bills with the postings of, well, no, take that back. There wouldn't be any bills from the newspaper because that was a letter to the editor. But there may be others from the at JNS for the CPA funds at work signs that showed up over at the fire station as well as Sandy Pond School. So I'll get those as soon as possible and hopefully I can have them for the July meeting. And then we received an email from the coalition with regards to making sure all things were locked down for the ballot vote, and also an email afterwards saying congratulations on the ballot vote. So that was, like I say, just the correspondence that I had. Anybody else receive anything else for correspondence? No? Okay, just checking. Okay. All right, moving on then to the old business. Okay, we've got the surcharge vote, which passed by 39 votes. So I know with that, we want to say, definitely thank you to the community that voted completely, whether it was a yes or a no vote. It was nice to have, making sure that people did come out. And then on top of it, I do want to recognize, and I think that we've all talked about it, that with the concerns of, the no votes, I want to make sure that we do address any type of concerns that individuals do have. So with that, I'm just going to continue on for a second, because we talked about at the information sessions that at the town meeting on the 15th, we'll be able to present the requests for the disbursements between the different categories for CPA funds, and those disbursements, again, it has to be at least 10%. So that disbursement now at town meeting will be $67,984 for open space and recreation, the same for historic, and the same amount for community housing. Going back, again to what we agreed upon is that it's mandatory that we put 10% into those categories. The rest of the additional funds will go into the reserve fund, the undesignated fund, so that it can be used within whatever requests that do come in. Because once the money gets put into a category, it cannot be taken out of that category. This way here, if the Affordable Housing Committee comes up and asks for money for a housing trust to help individuals with rental assistance, especially, we don't know how long everything's going to be happening with this crisis. It would be nice to be able to have that housing trust to get some funds available for it. Now, this is all for the 2021 fiscal year, so we're not going to see those monies really until next year.
And do you have the figure of what's going into the undesignated reserve fund then?
Right now, depending upon, of what ends up happening, it's going to be $458,885. I did receive information from the coalition, Stuart Saginaw, the coalition, that the state is going to still do the second and third state matching. So when we're at the 3%, we will get 3 state matching instead of just 1. So that's going to possibly bump that number up even more, which would be good, again, to go ahead and be able to use for the projects within the town. Yeah.
Just want to say, just to always stress that the actual use of these funds is always the final decision of town meeting vote, not us.
Correct.
Just in response to some comments on the community Facebook page. It's always the residents who finally make that decision.
Yeah, true. Thank you. And then I know Beth goes ahead, and I don't know if you want to chime in, Beth, but one of the things that you do mention is that these funds are used as a leverage for other additional grants that the town gets. I have asked Alan Minoyan as well as Alicia to come up with some figures of exactly how much monies that have been used to leverage like the CDBG grants and such. I know I'm trying to remember for the dog park, he needed the 20,000 from CPC.
He did.
Right, for that foundation grant. And I don't remember how much that foundation grant was.
I think it was somewhere around 200,000. So I think we were just at 5% we had to contribute.
Yeah.
So it was a big gain for the town that a little bit of CPC money
went a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this I think would be good, so that, again, individuals can find out exactly, it's not just the monies from CPC, it's also monies from different foundations, different grants, and different, like I say, state and federal funds. So with that.
Jen, can I ask a quick question?
Yes, Colleen.
This just reminded me, the fire station also applied for matching funds. Do we know yet if they were successful in that grant application? I can't remember what the timeline was.
Understood. I don't know if they were successful. I know that they were looking for $750,000. So with that, and that's the CDBG grant. So
Right.
if you look at some of those grants, we've brought in definitely, I mean, because of this leverage, we've brought in over $1 million that did not have to come out of anything else within the town. So that's why I'd like to get that figure, because again, we've been doing this now with the CPA funds for about 19 years. So I know that it's more than just that one CDBG grant and such. So, all right. Now, I understand I'm going to open it up unless anybody else on the committee have any other comments. I mean, good work. Again, this is a tough time to go ahead and try to implement this. And I think, again, you know, we all emphasize that it is tough. It was on the ballot, and we wanted to make sure that people knew exactly where we stood and seeing how this goes. This is going to bring in additional funds, again, from the state, and someone will get it, and it would be nice to be able to share in that pie, because the one that has just, you know, the first phase that they go ahead and give is now down to about 11%. Used to be, we had 100% at the beginning for the first couple of 6 or 7 years. They made a 100% match. They went down to within 30s, down into the 20s. Now it's 11%. So with this here, it's like, okay. But anything else from the committee?
No.
All right, Sarah? I saw that.
I just want to say, I don't want to pay this, but I think you've done a wonderful job. I think the goal, maybe in like 5 years, I'll be saying, you know, like, this is such a good thing. I watched you at town meeting present, and I just wish I missed the public hearing last fall. I don't know why. It was just I just missed the notice, and I know that you made it. And then this fall, spring, with having this COVID-19, not being able to, like, you know, learn a little bit more, and it was just like, you know, I just didn't want to pass it, you know. But anyway, I just want to say, I think you did an excellent job, like all of you, and you especially, Janet, because you've been, you know, I can remember things that you said at the town meeting last year, and it's a good thing. I just, you know,
I know, and
I like it.
yeah, no, I understand, because again, I know that people are concerned because we are going to be looking for a field. We are going to be looking for, you know, the elementary school. As these things happen, we can go back to, you know, 2%, 1%.
Yeah.
We've done it before. We can do it again. Again, it was more of just getting that matching funds, because the way I was looking at the monies is like, we really built it up well in the beginning because of the 100% and everything. And then all of a sudden, when they start decreasing, we were spending. Pardon?
They being the state.
Yeah, the state. They decreased. And you know, again, with the town approving all these projects, and when you look at all the different projects, monies we were spending, you know, it was getting a little off balance. So that's why it's like, okay, if we can do this for a couple of years and build it back up again, then, you know, we'll see as other things progress, the town can ask for it to be reduced again. So I look forward to hearing from you, Sarah. Okay.
Well, I'll be following your meeting, so I'm just interested in learning. I really am. But thank you for your work, all of you.
I just wanted to add, Sarah, that you know, I think after the shutdown and the state of emergency was declared, we did ask about whether we could remove the question from the ballot this spring because of the timing. But because the process started last fall with the town meeting vote, we were told we could not. And I know several of us would have probably liked to have maybe postponed it because of the economic uncertainty. we could not. So
Well,
it was what it was.
I appreciate knowing that, actually, but it worked out. And, everything you said at the town meeting, it's happened now. We're aligned to, to get that matching. So,
Mhm. And definitely come to the meeting, Sarah, all right, and give us the feedback. Again, this is the only way it's going to work. It is a community preservation funds. So it's to go ahead and do that. And yeah, definitely look forward to it.
all right. Well, thank you. I'm going to move away, but still be here.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Sarah.
All right, is there anybody else in the public who wants to go ahead and ask any questions?
The dogs do.
I don't have a squeaky toy for them this time around. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, like I say, I'm just going to double check with Robert on presenting those, the dollar amounts, to the town meeting on June 15th is the town meeting. From what I understand, it's still going to be held at the high school auditorium. They're going to be doing types of social distancing and making sure that people got their face masks on, and things are going to get sprayed down beforehand and cleaned up afterwards. So I don't know, Barry, have you heard anything else being part of APAC on the town meeting?
I haven't, no.
Okay, just checking. That's all.
I'm
All right.
eager, but
Pardon?
I'm eager and willing, but
Yeah.
it's the times, that's all.
Okay. All right. Well, then moving right along, we've got Irv, I believe you are here. And we've got a presentation. Nice background. All right, I like that. Let me go ahead and do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Irv, so that our public participants can see who you are?
Yes, I'm Irv Rockwood. I'm president of the Sandy Pond School Association. This is a local 501c3. We are the owners and maintainers of the Sandy Pond Schoolhouse.
Right, and you're coming forward with your second request for funds underneath the historic. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share it. Bear with me if I can locate this. Let's see. Tell me if you guys can see it.
Oop, here we go.
Okay. I did, and Irv, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't send this out until this morning. I thought I had sent it out earlier after you and I spoke. So the group has not had much of a chance to go through it all. But this is just to review the application to make sure, and then the next step would be to go ahead and have a public hearing if the group, like I say, approves. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, what I've done is sort of in my notes here singled out 5 or 6 things that I'd like to talk about because I don't want to try to walk you through 24 pages. And the first part would be at the bottom of what's page 2 on the application. And just a quick update. Since I wrote the application, and I gave you a little recap of phase 1 and what we had been able to accomplish with phase 1, and the big part of that was that we got 4 major things done to the schoolhouse in time for the 150th anniversary celebration last September. There were still 2 or 3 other things on our list for phase 1 that did not get done before September 14th of last year, and which we had hoped would be done before the end of the calendar year last year. They did not get done. There were some delays on the contractor end. And then we were going to do them early this spring, we had hoped, and I guess I indicate that on page, it's on page 1 and 2. The two items were electrical work, installation of new 100 amp electrical service and lighting fixtures, and also the installation and painting of new shutters. Those two things were still being covered under phase 1, the earlier grant, and we had hoped to have them done in time for an open house this May. As you might imagine, the open house in May did not happen, and the work hasn't happened. But the update is that this very day, I signed the change order for the work on these two things, and we're now waiting to get the contractor's schedule and hope to get to work on those fairly shortly. And that will come close to wrapping up phase 1. There at the moment appears to be likely to be a small amount of money left in the phase 1 grant, perhaps on the order of $15,000. And there's a couple of things we could do with that. What we're thinking at the moment is that when the contractor actually comes in and gets back on site and works on those two things, that we would then, with his assistance, identify one or more additional tasks that we might do with the remaining money and get those scheduled. So that is the current thinking about that. This grant application, however, is to finish the job. And what we are proposing to do is to do all of the work that was outlined in the April 2017 conditions assessment, and just get it done so that the schoolhouse can be finally truly reopened as we had hoped all along. And I want to say a couple words. The budget details that work and the estimated costs, and I'll say a couple additional things about that in a minute. But I want to really emphasize there are two major goals for this project. One, in the course of completing the schoolhouse, we accomplished two things. The first, of course, is the restoration and preservation of the schoolhouse, which is in of itself an extremely important historic preservation goal. And in my own view, the single most important one in Ayer at the moment. And we've made significant progress with the work we have done and getting it on the National Register, but this would finish it, and it would allow the schoolhouse to actually be opened and used on a regular basis. And it would allow it to be used not just as a historic site, but basically as a venue for community events. And that would be a restoration of the schoolhouse's status for many years following its closing as a school, because when it was acquired by the then new Sandy Pond School Association in 1908, over many years, it was used for many kinds of community events. And we've had two examples since last summer of the kind of events that can be hosted there. The first was the open house, the September open house, where we had live music, we had food, we had several speakers, we had the state senator and state representative present to talk. We had activities for children, and it really was a fun event. It really came off well. The site really handled it well, even though the schoolhouse was not finished, which it still is not. And secondly, we more recently had a totally unexpected event that happened just before the coronavirus situation erupted, when we were approached out of the blue by a family that had lived here in Ayer for a number of years, military family. They had just moved out, but the wife was being promoted to major in the Air Force, and they have a little ceremony in the military with that kind of a promotion, and they wanted to have it at the schoolhouse. I was really taken aback. But they really wanted to do it. They gave us a nice donation for doing it, and we had a packed schoolhouse on February 28th. The wife and her family, Air Force officers, and a surprisingly large group of visitors. It was really a neat event, and it's the kind of thing, again, that can be done in that kind of a space. I don't know that we'll have another one of those, but it was really fun. And then by March 12th, that would have been an impossible event. So that my big point is the goals are twofold. We believe that the schoolhouse can be restored not only as a historic site, but it can be of great use to the community for a variety of events. In the past, they had music there. It's still suitable for a variety of kinds of music. They had lectures there. They had at least one art auction. They had a variety of reunions and the like. And the building in its original form was usable year-round. The heating source was wood. The stove that was used is still in the building. That doesn't seem like a good way to heat the building. Our current plan is to instead install what's called a mini split heating system, which would be electric, and I think over the long run safer and more appropriate for this kind of a property. But the idea would be to have this building available year-round for all kinds of events, and I can see that there would be considerable potential for many uses for it. It become a little bit of a community center, which is what it was for many years, and why I think people have such fond memories of it.
Quick question, Irv. What's the occupancy?
How many people can you get in it?
Yeah.
We had about 40 on February 28th. I would say that's max. I wouldn't want to go a whole lot. We actually had a couple people standing. One of them was me.
Okay. All right. No problem. Just checking.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. But the combination of the building and the grounds worked really well for the open house, where we had things going on inside and outside simultaneously, and in good weather, that's a possibility.
True.
Then I'd like to talk about the budget. That takes us to the bottom of page 7, and then on page 8.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, and the budget, I would have to say, is still a bit of a work in progress. Since submitting this to Janet, I then sent her more recently a little one-page breakdown, which gives a slightly different set of costs. The basis for the cost basis we're working with are the list of tasks that were enumerated in the April 2017 conditions assessment, but had not been done or scheduled to be done. And we used the cost estimates that came with that that assessment to estimate current costs, because it's been, it's almost 4 years since that was done.
Do you want me to share the spreadsheet?
Yeah, have you got that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to, let's see, and pause that. Let me share.
Yeah, I've never been good at sharing on Zoom. I go to a lot of sessions.
All right.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. This is still kind of an amateur estimate, because I'm the one who did it, and I'm an amateur when it comes to construction costs. But what I discovered after I sent in the original budget and the estimate of $208,873, was there are multiple indices out there for estimating escalation in construction costs. And apparently, one that is most highly regarded is the one that I have in columns in rows 1 and 2, the Engineering News Record, or ENR as it is known. And they have a very precise and lengthy series of indices for different locations and different kinds of projects. I did not have access to their full set of indices because it's a subscription service, and the price tag is about $400. And I didn't want to pay $400 to get access to those indices. But I stumbled across, by sheer chance, a table in another source where they had pulled out just the 2017 to 2020 or 2021 ENR indices, and I was able to use those in this little table. And what this little table shows you is that obviously each of these indices is a little different. You get a different result depending on which one you use. And what I did was apply that index to the 2017 construction costs and come out with an estimate for 2020. And those estimates range from a low of $195,633 to a high of $208,873. That's the one I originally submitted. They average about $202,785. That seemed like a reasonable estimate for now. But I would add that I'm expecting to get, in fact, I had hoped to get before tonight, a detailed sort of line-by-line estimate from Spencer, Sullivan, and Vogt. And Lynn Spencer is working on that, but she has not been able to deliver it yet. And we will have it, I think, sometime in the next week or two, certainly before a public hearing. And that probably will give us our best possible estimate of the actual costs. My guess is, though, we're probably pretty close to the ballpark right now. And we'll see what Lynn has to say. So bottom line, at the moment, my best guess is we're talking $202,000 roughly.
202 or 2,208?
Sorry, 202,785. That's my current guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Want me to go back to the other doc?
yeah.
Does anybody have any questions with regards to these numbers?
Just one. I mean, on other grant applications, we've thought about having a contingency amount for unforeseen things, but this being a really big project, we could always, there's not a contingency built into this budget yet, right?
Does not look it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you know, Irv and, okay, I forgot. Who's your contractor?
Oh, the contractor's O'Doherty and the architect is Spencer, Sullivan, and Vogt.
Right, she's been pretty good of coming up with, right to the good dollar amount. I mean, like you're saying, for phase one, she was almost just about $15,000 off of
Right.
what needed to get spent, so.
Yeah, phase one numbers came in pretty good. And we made some changes in the work that was done during phase one. The work that was actually done in the end was a little different than the work we bid on, because in the course of the construction work, we discovered that some things needed to be changed. And the big one was we did more work on the inside of the classroom and on the exterior painting than we had originally planned, but we did not do any painting work at all on the shutters, which upon closer inspection turned out to not really be worth painting. So some changes were made, but yeah, they came in pretty well on target. So we have got a history with them.
All right. I'm trying to get back to the other document. Bear
Oh
with me.
yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay.
Bottom of page 8 would be the next place to be.
All right. I'm supposed to stop that one, and I'm supposed to pick up this one. Where is it? Okay, I'm at the bottom of page 7, at the top of page 8.
Yeah, now we go to the bottom of 8 and top of 9, I think. We talk about cost sharing. I think we need to have that conversation. The current plan assumes or hopes that we would be able to fund, that CPC would be able to fund the entire project.
And you know what our feedback's going to be probably about that.
Yeah, I know. So let me explain the reasoning. It's partly timing. We really would like to get this thing done and get it done. And that would be far and away the fastest way to get it done. And the ideal time frame here would be to get it done in the year of Ayer's 150th anniversary, which is next year. And the only way that I can see that happening with a high degree of certainty is if we're able to fund it through CPC. I've proposed, I put an alternate budget plan in this request. It's at the very end, it's Appendix E. But what I can summarize it very quickly. What it would involve would be going to CPC for enough money to establish the amount of money we need for a matching grant from the Massachusetts Preservation Project Fund, MPPF. And what would have to happen then is we would need to get an initial grant for 75% of the money proposed here. We would need 50% because that's the amount we would actually expect CPC to pay for, and we would expect MPPF to pay for the other 50%, but they require that you have 75% in hand before they'll give you any money. So what we would be asking for in that case would be 75% of the money, of which 25% could be refunded at the end. And we would never actually have to spend that money, but it would have to be available to us in a way that MPPF would accept. The other issue besides timing is uncertainty. At this point, MPPF is about to announce its current year grants. Their normal cycle is applications in March, announcements in June. We won't know for several months after June whether there's going to be another round of MPPF money, grant money, in 2021. And my sense is that the current state of the budget at that time, say the Massachusetts budget at that time, may be a problem, and there's no guarantee that there actually will be any MPPF grants next year. If there are, even if there are, we have to get one. And that would involve a little risk and some money. We'd have to spend money on our part, and we would do that. We can do that. We have received quotes for what consultant might charge to prepare an MPPF grant for us, because frankly, it's beyond us. And those run about $1,500 to $2,500. So we would put that money out up front, submit the grant, and then see whether we got one. We have about a 50% chance. That's about their average success rate. They award grants to about 50% of the projects that apply. So the things that would happen there is we would have to wait until probably the summer or even the fall to find out whether there's going to be an MPPF round. And then if there is going to be one, we wouldn't know until we wouldn't know till the following June whether we got one or not. If we didn't get one, we would simply be stuck with having to find another way to fund the last half of the project. So the other sources we have looked at other sources. I've compiled a 4-page list of other sources. I'm not aware of another source that actively funds historic preservation that would be able to give us more than $10,000 or $12,000. And I may be missing something there. And if I am, I'd be happy to hear about it. But right now, that's what we know about. So that's basically the plan. As I say, if it's not going to work for CPC, then we would modify the request to presumably half plus the 25% contingency money, and proceed and then do our best with MPPF. That's and the effect on the timeline would depend on lots of things, but it would be, if everything went right, it's conceivably possible we might be able to finish the project via that alternate plan in 2021, but it will be less certain. So that's my questions or comments or suggestions about that, because I understand that's a big one.
Yeah, because, originally, again, times have changed since 2017. With the first phase being a certain amount, then the second phase, we thought that it was going to come in like between 150 and 170. To go ahead and, increase it now to 208, I understand costs, have increased, and I can see where you used your index so that you could see approximately what those cost increase would be. It wasn't that $30,000 more is a big jump, or almost 40,000. So that's where my concern comes in, and I know it would be nice to be able to have some sort of leverage. So if we, my gut feeling is if the 75% might be able to get us there, then it would be nice to be able to get the MPPF monies. But I'll let the other group, let the group talk about it. Anybody else got some feedback?
I have a question. Are you soliciting any private donations or any fundraising activities? I mean, it sounds like you're going for grants. and you're looking for us to provide funds, but do you have any private donors or anything lined up?
We do
Or
have
prospects for that?
Sure. We have had some, done a little better this last year on private donations. We, to be honest, have a pretty slim balance at any given moment. Since I've been active here on the board in 2014, we've had a couple of years during which the board members had to pay out of pocket to cover necessary expenses like insurance. We have fixed expenses right now, which are really minimal because all the members are volunteers of 3,000 plus a year. We have enough to cover that, and we have a few $1,000s additional, literally a few, like 2 or 3. That's what we have in hand. We had tried one fundraising campaign, which wasn't really terribly successful. That doesn't mean a future one might not be. We now have a mailing list of a couple hundred people, which we didn't have several years ago when we tried that. And we've got a couple people who have given us money, and it might be possible to raise some additional funds. But I would say, realistically, how much could we raise in that manner? I'd be excited if we got $10,000. I'd feel that was great.
Yeah. So, sounds like you're using operations. You're paying for your operations with those, but you need a bigger chunk for your capital items.
Yeah, that's basically how we've been looking at it. For the capital expenses, we needed to go outside. And we understand operational expenses, we have to raise those ourselves.
Okay, anybody else? Barry, will you be able to find out from Historic Commission on additional
Yes,
areas that they can look for monies?
yes.
Right, that would be great,
I'll make a note of that now.
please. The other thing too, that with the CPA funds, I don't know whether or not we spoke about it after the first phase, but seeing that the building itself is owned by the association, who holds the historic deed or whatever it's called?
Oh, the National Register nomination or the
No, not the National Register one.
the deed?
It's not called the deed. What am I thinking of? Beth, help me.
Preservation
Yeah.
restriction? The preservation restriction or?
Yeah, the restriction. Does the town, for it being a historic restriction,
Right.
does the
Yeah.
town have to hold on to that? So that it's, because it's town money that's being used to restore this?
Yeah, we agreed to a historic preservation with the earlier grant. And to be honest, nobody's come forward to us to give us something to sign. And I have,
Okay.
I just haven't pushed it. But yeah, we're entirely in agreement on that. In fact, that's really a big issue. We really want to make sure that it's understood. This is intended to be a historic property.
Okay.
We don't want anybody putting up a 7-Eleven there.
All right, so Barry, that would be something else that you got to bring to the Historic Commission. To see exactly how that restriction gets implemented so that we can cover all angles.
Right. And if, for example, we didn't have that in hand and we did apply to MPPF, they would insist on one. So it's gonna happen either way. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I went ahead and I told Stuart from the coalition that it is on the National Register. It's like it would be crazy, not to keep it that way. So, and then especially with this being the oldest building within town. So it's like I wanted to rest assured, yeah, we would be getting that. So I think that works out good. Any other comments?
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Jess?
this is Beth. I was just going to say that for the historic preservation restriction, we could certainly look to the documents that have been developed for the project associated with the old fire station and the Fletcher building downtown. And I think that Alan probably, like Barry, if you guys want to seek assistance from staff, maybe Alan could help with that and liaise with town council to get that all drawn up. But of course, there would be certain details and terms and conditions and things associated with this property that would be unique to this property. But again, you could get a sense of what has been set up in the past between, CPC funded or CPA funded projects and historic preservation requirements. And then I also just really, would encourage the group to continue to fundraise and seek additional grant funds. We've got a little bit of time before this would be going to, fall town meeting. So I think there are other foundations out there that might be options, and some of them maybe operate with a little bit more flexibility on timelines, maybe a quarterly or semi-annual grant offering, and they might not need as much of the detail as the MPPF application requires. So, I really encourage you to continue to look for those options, because we would really like to see this advance, of course, but also, more cost sharing. This would be the third funding cycle for the schoolhouse, and we see it as a tremendous asset for the community and a really important priority. But, we do like to, use the funds judiciously and see, some more matching funds being contributed to projects as well.
Yeah, we can certainly look into that. As I say, we've kind of looked at what I'm currently aware of and have not seen anything else. It would be possible to try the relatively new preservation fund that does have a limit, but of $10,000. That's a brand new, that 1772 Foundation program. That has a limit, and it seems to be, as I read it, designed really to handle sort of supplemental add-on kinds of projects, as opposed to the capital funding of a bigger project. But we could talk to them and see. The other outfit I could talk to at this point is the Cummings Foundation, about which I know very little, other than a friend recommended it to me, and they seem to have a lot of money, but it's not at all clear they're into historic preservation. But if they appear to have a lot of money if they were interested. So those I'm aware of at the moment. Those are probably the two places I'd talk to first.
On the 1772, if they're doing, like, say, specific add-on instead of capital improvements, it might be good when you're speaking with Spencer and Vogt to go ahead and ask if some of the budget breakdown might be able to sway it that way, so it's more of an add-on, and how they can word it, so that 1772 can pick it up, going, okay, yeah, this looks like something that we'll be able to do. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, it does. And we, and we could do that. That's, in fact, is what we did with phase one. We broke it into two parts, and, and submitted grant applications for part of it to those other two agencies, which did not see fit to fund them. So, so we didn't get anything out of that, but that was the same tactic, slice it up and get the stuff that we apply, get the portion that we're applying to them for down to a size that they would ordinarily fund. Yeah, so we could do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. And also, too, just to remind people that if this does get pushed ahead for public hearing, a warrant, and then to town meeting, we always can go down in price. You can't go up in price. So if the town goes ahead and says the 208 is way too much, maybe something like the 190 or whatever, we can always, like I say, go down.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's understood.
All right. Any other feedback? Any other public feedback? All right. Well, does the group want to make a vote on moving this to a public hearing? Can someone make a motion?
The motion that we move ahead with the public hearing.
Second.
All right, Colleen. All right, let's do a roll call. Jason?
Aye.
Beth? I do that too.
Sorry, I just had to unmute. Sorry.
okay.
Aye. Yep.
No problem. That's why I picked on you, because I saw that you were muted. Now, Barry?
Aye.
Hi, Colleen?
Aye.
Jess?
I,
And the chairman says aye too as well.
it looks like
Julie, and Julie's here.
Julia, I say aye.
All right, sounds great. Okay, so we're all in favor of bringing it to a public hearing. Now, my next question is the public hearing. July 1st is our next meeting. That's close to whatever 4th of July celebration we might be able to do in this environment. I don't know if we want to hold off until possibly August, and that may give Irv a little more time to look for sources.
Janet, I actually
I think that's
suggest,
appropriate.
I would actually suggest that we just wait until closer to the deadline for the warrant.
Correct.
You know, really, then we'll know if we have other applications as well. We could schedule multiple public hearings on the same night. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, we've got Labor Day is what? The second? Is it the second Tuesday? When's Labor Day?
it's the first Monday.
Right, the first Monday.
Yeah, which is the 7th. The
Right.
first Wednesday of September is the 2nd.
Right, so let's go ahead right now and schedule it for September 2nd, because we'd need the warrant done by the end of September.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Go ahead, Beth.
Yeah, that would
Sorry,
be
I just said sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
great.
Okay, so that gives you some more time too, Irv, in between.
Right, and I'll work on several things. The budget, I think we'll have a finer budget within a week or two, and I'll keep you posted on that. And I'm optimistic that it may actually come down a little bit. And then I'm working on letters of support. We certainly would have those, I think, in time for the public hearing. And I'll certainly go to work on alternate, cost sharing options and see what we can get done.
Excellent. All right, Irv, thank you very much. Nicely, like I say, I wish I could have shared all the document, but it's impressive having that handwritten deed in there and such.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, thank you, and hopefully everybody else can have a chance to review it and come up with other questions. And if
Okay.
there's other questions in between, we will be in touch with you.
Absolutely, and I'll be happy to try to answer them. Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Irv, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Irv. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right, you too. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this and let's see if there's anything else. Nope, I'm just looking at other items that may get shared, don't really need it. So we're back together again. All right, next thing on the agenda is just the, let me make sure I've got that, is committees. I'll start off first that the Air Housing has not been able to meet. I do want to let you know that Ken Martin, I found out a couple days ago that his mother did pass away. So I'm going to send a sympathy card from the CPC to Ken with regards to that. 93 years old. She
Was that because of COVID?
I don't know. Like I say, she was a vivacious woman who would go to Foxwood every week. So with with that, it's quite something. She definitely kept Ken on his toes. So we're sorry to hear about her passing. And I think, like I say, I want to send a card from the CPC. So again, Air Housing hasn't met. The Affordable Housing Committee has met, and they are, again, we're still looking and moving forward to coming to the CPC for the Housing Trust and putting the Housing Trust on the warrant for fall town meeting. So that other item for the affordable housing is right now we are currently at 7 members. It's been difficult to get a quorum. So we're going to be looking to the Board of Selectmen and possibly reducing it to 5 with the 2 alternative members. But if you know of anybody else who wants to be on this housing, affordable housing committee, definitely let me know because it would be nice to get feedback within the community of how we want to move forward and such. So that's it for housing. Barry?
We haven't met, but something I'm working on for Freedom's Way is they've asked all the different towns to give inputs, whether it's pictures or stories about the 19th Amendment. And I have a postcard with the suffrage house on it, which is on West Main Street still. It was a coffee house. I also have a picture of a woman's suffrage, and underneath it says Ayer's first suffrage support, and she was standing there on Central Ave. I also have from 1912 a parade of the women's suffrage, all walking in the parade with their banners. So all that stuff I'm gathering up to send to Freedom's Way. So it'll be our Ayer's contribution towards the 19th Amendment.
Excellent. Thank you. Goes to show you we've been on the map for a long time.
Right.
All right. Okay. Jess, how about conservation?
We're continuing to meet remotely and still working out some kinks in terms of authorizing our agent to sign on our behalf permits because certain permits in order of conditions has to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, but it needs an original ink signatures, and we can't go into town hall. So the certificate of vote, which we voted on, is with town council now, and then that has to be filed and recorded at the registry too. It's all very complex. We're also working on our criteria, a grid to sort of evaluate applications to see if we want to move forward at this point. It's at our discretion to open public hearings on applications during the state of emergency. The Governor's Municipal Relief Act gives us the ability to not open a public hearing until like 45 days after the end of the state of emergency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so obviously we don't want to do that for every project. If somebody's got a, simple backyard project or whatever, we don't want to hold that up. But on the other hand, if it's a big subdivision project where there would be a lot of public interest, we would probably want to delay until there was an easier way for the public to participate and comment and all that. So, So we're just working on that stuff.
All right, I see Julie shaking her head. So something tells me that planning's got the same type of issues.
Well, I'm sure we'll be discussing them if we haven't just yet. We haven't had anything to sign. But we had the continued public hearing on 14 Washington Street. So the old firehouse. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, I lost my screen. And so we are at this point still continuing to talk about the parking situation. The engineer that was with us this past meeting hadn't realized we had been proposed a different type of parking situation originally with this project. So we are looking at continuing that public hearing and making sure that we can work through hopefully not having all of the parking in the front of the building, in front of the big doors. And let's see, what else did we do?
Yeah, I thought Calvin said that he was going to use some of his other parking lot to the side of the building for parking.
Yep, so that's what we reminded them on, and we're continuing to have that conversation.
Okay.
So hopefully there'll be some clarification there next time. We are talking about Air Solar 2 as well. We have a site visit on Saturday They have moved. They have moved the roadway in order to access the property away from the property lines, and so they are working as with conservation as well, and such. Yes, Jess.
Okay, so just on that, we did a couple meetings ago approve hiring an outside independent consultant to evaluate the plans from a conservation point of view, since they had changed because of the relocation of that road. So that consultant, Ecotech, has begun their review of the project. So we're not moving forward on our order of conditions or anything until we've heard more from the consultant, and then also evaluate the pandemic situation and public input. So yeah, and we will keep planning and apprised of anything we learn.
Thank you.
Did that project go through MIPA review?
They do, yeah, I believe so. I think they do have, we do have some comments from Natural Heritage. And
Right, but I'm just wondering if it did already get a certificate for the ENF, that the change in the roadway might warrant it going back for MIPA review again. But I couldn't remember if it had already gone through the ENF process. It seems it should, because it's, yeah.
Well, I mean, and part of the reason we had justified requiring an outside consultant review again was because of the changes in the habitat maps that have happened since the last time this project was permitted, before it changed plans. And so now there's areas that are now designated as priority habitat that were not back several years ago. And so it is undergoing review through Natural Heritage.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay, moving on, because we're hit 8 o'clock. Jason, I know that I delivered a sign that CPC funds have been used for the Pony Park perimeter path and such.
Yep.
I got to get some signs over to Sheila, and I got to sign, like I say, I know Calvin and Merv were able to put up the sign CPA funds at work. So, so how are things going?
I don't know if our sign has been posted yet. I'll have to go double check.
Okay.
But we get a lot going on. We just turned over 60% of our commission with the election. So we have 3 new commissioners on a 5-person board. So that's tough because we have a lot with reopening right now. We're like neck deep in trying to reopen the park, which reopened last week, considering reopening the beach. Tons of restrictions. So we're kind of trying to chew through all those things and make sure that we can meet the guidelines for the state, for the CDC, the state, and the Board of Health. We're hoping for maybe a later in June open for Sandy Pond Beach, but we don't know. We have a lot of work to do still to make sure we can hit all those benchmarks. Recreation programs and camps, same thing, up in the air. We're meeting next week to make a determination on whatever recreation programs and camps we can or can't offer. And the big thing is the state has the guidelines, but we need to make sure that we can meet those from a practical standpoint. We need to make sure that all of our staff understands what they are. They're trained in all of them. We need to make sure we have the proper, PPE and cleaning and all of these items on hand. So we need to make sure we can afford them, right? So if we can't physically meet all these guidelines, we can't, offer these programs, even if the state says that you can offer those programs. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Rich Durand obviously was I'm filling in, quote unquote, I've been filling in for him on this board for the last several months. He's no longer part of the park commission, and we wish him the best in his recovery. So I may be more of a permanent fixture here. I don't know. You might be stuck with me for the long term. We'll see how that goes, but what we have from parks.
We definitely appreciate everything that you've done, and I know Rich does too as well. You send him our best, please, when you speak with him one way.
Yeah, no, we thank Rich for all he's done, and we hope that, you know, he's got a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
For him.
Agreed. Well, if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. I know that the town has done a new document for the budget, and I see the remediation of the Peroni Park playground has a dollar amount in there for $20,000. Remember, CPA funds can be used for that remediation as well as rebuilding that playground. So,
yeah, of course, we'll definitely be looking to see for that. We're so focused right now on the COVID stuff that.
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
Kind of,
yeah. Okay. All right. Beth, anything for open space and parks?
Nothing to report. We haven't had a wild and scenic meeting for a couple months now, and but we're still working on bylaws and trying to set up the framework for the grants program that we'll have for the Wild and Scenic Partnership as well. And then for air open space, nothing new to report right now.
Okay, all right. And Colleen, I'm going to pick on you anyways, the citizen at large. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything that you can feedback.
No, nothing.
All right.
Nothing to report.
I see you don't have the answers on your whiteboard behind you, so.
Yes, I did erase it before.
I can't cheat on any exam.
Yeah.
All right. How about for public participation? Anything else? I see that Sarah has left. Again, I don't know about diagnostics IP.
I got one more thing, if I may.
Oh, please, Barry. Go ahead.
I forgot when you asked me about APAC. APAC is filming the town meeting live. I'm not sure. I asked the question whether public participation will be allowed or not, and they're not sure at this time. So, but
Okay.
again, it will be filmed live.
Excellent.
We're setting up next week. So.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. All right. Well, if there's nothing else to go ahead and cover, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Just curious, how many of us are planning on trying to attend town meeting?
I'll be there because I'm filming.
I think I will try to come.
I have to discuss it.
I don't think I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't discussed it yet. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. But if it's going to be,
If it's going to be live, then we can pay attention. And if we need to attend at strategic moments, maybe we could.
Yeah.
But
I just hope there's a quorum. That's what's needed. Yeah.
well, I gather the quorum's what, 50?
I think it's 50.
Yeah. So, like I say, we'll see.
Well, that could be dangerous too, though, if it's 50 of the
Yeah, I mean,
of one side or another.
they're supposed to break it all up and everything. I don't know. But you know, one thing that going ahead and voting, it was nice to see new faces at the voting, meaning at, the employees, the pollsters. It was nice to have, like I say, fresh blood in there to go ahead and help the town. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that can continue. It's like, oh, all right. Okay, like I said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Wait, who seconded?
Jason.
Oh, Jason. Okay.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.